Acclamation, everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings. For me, it is a Saturday night, August the 29th, 2015. I hope everyone has had an excellent last 2 weeks. I did miss last week's Cube Ramblings, mostly because I had all the footage recorded and everything else. I was ready to go. And I started looking for some stuff to talk about, some articles and other things, and there was a whole lot of nothing. A whole lot of nothing. You know, it's a slow news day when the only article you could pick up is, hey, there's a Fallout themed Monopoly board now. I mean, that's how dry it was. Let me tell you that much. But it is, the news is picking up a little bit more. We're in the, PAX Prime is going on as I speak, and continuing on for the next couple days, I guess, out in Seattle. And, we're starting to see the beginnings of a few announcements coming down, but nothing has been fleshed out yet. So I will talk a little bit about a few of the things that I have my eye on, but I can't go into too much depth because there's not anything to talk about yet, because all I got is some small videos, and that's it. There's no write-ups or anything about what the games are entailing or anything else, or what, some of the highlights and all that stuff. But, at least some things that you can keep your eye out for if you're looking for some coverage when the coverage starts coming out from PAX Prime, that is. At least some of the early coverage I've seen. But we'll get into that in a little bit. I've been busy playing lots of stuff. We finished up Tales from the Borderlands Episode 4. Loved it. Absolutely, positively loved it. The final episode of that went up on, final part of that episode went up last week, a few days ago. So that was a lot of cool. I really enjoyed that. I have no idea how they're going to wrap everything up, but I very much enjoyed it, and I'm waiting and hoping for the, I think episode 5 of that will be the final episode of Tales from the Borderlands, at least for season 1, unless they may or may not come back for another season. I don't know. It really depends on how much they've been selling, and I don't know if they've been selling well or not. I hear conflicting things like, yes, they're selling well, no, they're not selling well for Tales from the Borderlands, but I don't know. But I very much enjoyed that. Also keeping my eyes out for a few other episodic things going on. Obviously, you've got the Minecraft story mode, which hasn't come out yet. But I'm keeping an eye on that. We did see some more information come out about that, where you can customize the look of your main character, both male and female skins of it. So that's something a little bit different than any of the other Telltale games. So that's kind of nice, or any of the other Telltale, I guess, story-driven games. I don't know if they did that on some of their earlier games, like the Back to the Future game or whatnot. Probably not, because they were licensed games. But yeah, that's kind of cool. So that's something to look out for. But yeah, other than that, I have, I don't know when Blues and Bullets episode 2 will be out, but I imagine that's going to take them a while to do that before that can come out, because I really enjoyed the first episode of that too. And that was starting to get kind of good there when they cut it off. So waiting for that. That's not a Telltale game. That's by a different developer altogether. I'm kind of mixing my peanut butter and my chocolate here a little bit. So I don't want you guys to get lost as my brain jumps between 19 different things that are like almost similar, but not in many ways. But I got so many little things to talk about here, so it's trying to keep everything going in a stream of consciousness thoughts as I always do here. As far as some of the games that I've played or that I've been looking at, obviously I want to hopefully on Sunday when you're seeing this, we'll see what happens. my weekends are rough anymore. But hopefully I will be able to live stream some more Borderlands. And I'll probably only do that on the YouTube rather than do it on all three. Well, we'll see. We'll see what I'm up for. Maybe I'll do it on all three because I started doing it on all three. I don't know. We'll see. But I want to do that. I want to make sure I'm keep making progress in that because I do like that game. I just I like variety too, and every once in a while I just want to I just want to take a break from some things from time to time. So my intent is to play through the entire Borderlands series at some point. It's going to take me a long time to do it, but I'm probably going to keep it up with just doing the live streams, doing it that way, and not putting them on. Well, they'll be on YouTube, but they'll be on my Memory League Doom channel, which is my live stream channel, not my Memory League Death channel. So, continuing with that, and then I also, Evoland 2 was finally released this week, and I had it pre-ordered, so I picked that up and played that for the Friday stream. I'm really enjoying that. That's going to continue as the Friday stream for a little while. I'm actually hoping to play through the entire game as a live stream. It's just going to take me a couple weeks to do it, as always. But we did get. I played for just over 3 hours on Friday in a live stream. Evoland 2. I'm really liking it. I played all the way through Evoland 1 as well. I remember the boss battle, that being a real pain in the neck, but I did get through all that. But I did that before I had a channel, a YouTube channel, so that's why there's no videos of that. But I figured, the RPG stuff, I've already got plenty of RPG stuff going on the channel right now, on the YouTube channel, so I thought keeping those as live streams for a little while might be a good thing. Plus, we're talking about RPGs that are kind of long form. They take 20 to 30 hours to do, most likely, or more. So I wanted to. I feel like that's probably works out better as live streams than it does, as a YouTube series. Especially when I got a bunch of other YouTube series going on. That's not to say I'll stop doing RPGs as YouTube series. I'm going to continue that, but I'm going to go a little bit easier on it because right now I've got The Witcher 3, which is going to be for quite some time, and I'm behind on recording that. I don't have any. All the footage I have already uploaded, so we're going to be a couple days late on The Witcher 3 footage, just because I've been trying to get through. There's a couple games that I have almost done or I've just completed, and I would like to get through those as to clear up the schedule some more, and finally just kind of flush out some of the things that were already, they've been around for a while, and it's, I just need to sort of clean the palette, as you would. So along those same lines, I've finished Dishonored, all the DLCs. The final episode of Dishonored will be going up on Monday, and that will be the final episode of the, that's all the stuff in the Brigmore Witches, the final part of that, and then we are done with the Dishonored 1 and the DLCs at that point, so that's really cool. So I'll have to wait for Dishonored 2 to come back out, and I will be doing that on the YouTube. I actually have a plan. I'm hatching a plan. We'll see if it's something that I can actually pull off. But if you'll recall, a long time ago on my channel, I played a game called Star Crusader. This game I really, really enjoyed. It's a space combat game, and it's one that you don't see too much of because it did not sell very well. Even though I enjoyed the hell out of it, it was a little bit repetitive, and it was buggy at the time too. It's significantly less buggy, less crashy now, playing it in DOSBox, but playing it on actual DOS back in the day, it was glitchy, it was buggy. I actually, for the longest time, thought that my CD was damaged because the end cutscenes at the end of the game, the audio would kick out on them, and I would get like a few words here and there, but then it would just be silent. And I thought maybe there was a corruption on disk or something like that, but it turns out, when I play it in DOSBox all these years later, no, my discs are actually fine. The disc was actually fine for it, because I got to hear all the ending in the full audio, cutscene and all that stuff. So, what I was getting at there, tangent and a half, what I was getting at there is that it's, when I played through that, I specifically wanted to play both branches of the game, because the game branches off about halfway through, and you've got the Goreen branch, where you just continue fighting for the Goreens, and then you've got the Alliance branch, where you decide that you don't like the way the Goreens are conducting themselves, and so you start to fight against the Goreens by joining the alien alliance they were fighting. And I had never played through the alien alliance portion of it. I had always played through just the Goreen portion, because I kind of like the Goreens. The Goreens are badass. Even though they were very, very morally wrong in what they were doing, they were still badass, and I loved them. Their ships were just awesome. Far better than the alien ships. But I decided when I was going to do it on YouTube, since it's not out there that much, let me do all the branches of the game. And that's what I did. I recorded both sections and then upload them both at the same time, so you could see, like, here's what the Goreens are doing, and here's what the Alliance is doing. I tried to match them up as much as I could, even though the Alliance had more missions than the Goreens did, so I had to sort of fudge it a little bit here and there. But I tried to mesh them up as much as I could, timeline-wise. And I was thinking for Dishonored 2, when that eventually comes out, since you can play as both Corvo and as Emily, I was thinking, it might be a really cool thing if and I don't know if they have a concept of high and low chaos in Dishonored 2. I imagine they will, since they had that in Dishonored 1. But I was kind of thinking it would be rather badass if I played through as low chaos as Corvo, but as low chaos, which kind of continues the story that I did in Dishonored 1, where I played Corvo as low chaos, and then play through at the same time again as Emily, and do that in high chaos. So you can see, like, sort of a nice mishmash of things. And from what I understand, they're both going to go through pretty much the same locations, just their story is going to be a little bit different based on which one you pick. And that's, of course, assuming that that all the save and all that stuff works like in Dishonored 1, where you can save anytime you want and all that stuff. I'm kind of just plotting this ahead of time, not knowing exactly what I'm going to be up against when the time comes, especially, time-wise and other things. But yeah, I thought that would be kind of cool. So, just wanted to touch base on that. That's Dishonored. Dishonored will be finishing up. What will be taking its place? I don't know. Honestly, I'm going to maybe not have anything take its place for a little bit. I still have to... I am behind on the Driver San Francisco stuff. Everything that I have recorded for that is up already. And so I missed it for Saturday as well, because I just didn't have time to record. So I will... that will be taking over the slot, the 10:30 in the morning slot that Dishonored has now, until that finishes. And I think I'm almost finished Driver San Francisco as well. So that may only have a few episodes left in it. Who knows? Depends on how many side things I do on that. And then we won't have anything scheduled then for Mondays and Saturdays and Mondays. So I'm thinking I might either do one game during that time, like I've been wanting to get back and play No One Lives Forever, which I had recorded some things of, and I ended up throwing the footage out, and I figured I'd start over again when I'm good and ready to do it and play a good chunk of it. So I was thinking maybe I'd do that, but I'm also thinking that I might switch up the schedule a little bit. Maybe adopt more of a typical YouTuber's schedule, sort of. where I have, a main game that I play, and then maybe one or two secondary games, and the main game takes most of the slots, like every other day or whatever, and then the other games sort of fit in wherever they can. I'm thinking I might adopt that more because I'm trying to free up some time for myself to do the other things I want to do around the channel, like actually maybe finally get some channel art for a change. And I've been wanting to start a website as well around the channel. And there's something I've been thinking about as far as decks goes, which I've been playing a lot of today. I played about 4 hours of decks today because I'm very close to the end of that game too as well, and I wanted to try to get that done so that I can get all the episodes out correctly, and getting a lot more footage recorded, I'm able to do more editing then and really make sure that every episode is that I'm making a lot of progress in it. I'm not limited by, oh, I just stopped my recording session here and I didn't make a whole lot of progress, that kind of thing. With Dex, I've been kind of thinking about this because Dex has a problem where a lot of the sort of side quests in it, or a lot of the, I guess they're side quests, but also the main quests in it, you get kind of lost from time to time. Like you don't really know where to go for things sometimes, and I had to actually look up a guide. Apparently there's a very good guide out there that somebody wrote on for Dex on the walkthrough guide on Steam, and I was actually looking at that, and I was having this sort of epiphany where I was like, wouldn't it be kind of nice if I revisited some of these games that are like RPGs and have these quests and stuff, and if I did small videos maybe of how to do each of the quests and just how the quest lines work out and all that stuff. Of course, in order to do that, I can't do it blind. I have to have already played the game all the way through. And Dex is a short enough game that I could probably pull that off with. But at the same time, I'm also thinking of maybe even doing it just as a write-up and then having it on a website whenever I get around to making a website. Or at least having it on like a blog type thing like Tumblr or something like that. Just to make something useful rather than just having constantly blind playthroughs of things. You know what I mean? It's, do a little extra work there. But in order to do that, it takes time and effort. And obviously, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have to not be recording as many. If I'm going to do any of that, I'm going to have to not be recording as many games as I am right now in a single thing, which kind of hurts me a little bit because I do like all the variety. I like sitting down and just playing whatever the hell I want. But at the same time, that's not really... There are better ways to do that. Like a lot of the games I'm playing, they hang around for a long time because like the series that are ongoing that have definitive ends sort of hang around for far longer than they need to. And even I, after a while, like after 4 or 5 months or so, start to get tired of still like, oh, I'm still not quite finished this game yet, and that kind of thing. So even I'm thinking like, and hard drive space being what it is too, I can't really play 20 hours ahead in a game because I don't have that kind of hard drive space for that, and everything else that's going on at the same time. So I've been contemplating taking on a little bit more of it'll be a little bit less of a schedule of what I have now. Like, there won't be as many games going on, but my hope is that I'll be able to get things done a little bit faster, sort of, like, within a month instead of having it go 3-4 months, as things tend to go now, because I'm only doing like episodes like twice a week or so. But then, having said that, there's also going to be plenty of games like sandbox games and RTS games and stuff like that that are just going to be, they're just going to drag on for as long as I feel like playing them. You know, I'm gonna get back to City Skylines at some point, which I just finished season 1 of that. I'm getting back into Soul Zero, really enjoying my time in that. I started with the the 0.8 version update on that, and it surprised me quite a bit because I put that video up and I got more of a response on that video than I've gotten on any other videos in ages. Like I put that up and, you know, went up in the morning, and I came home that night from work and I looked at it and it was already at like 20 views or something like that, which is insane for me because I don't get that many views that fast. So I know that's like 20 views doesn't sound like a whole lot, and it's, you know, in the grand scheme of YouTube it probably isn't, but for me it's a whole lot. So I got, you know, a whole bunch of sort of views on that. I think a lot of people were curious about the game and wanted to see what was going on with it and all that stuff. So that's cool. So that'll be continuing, and then of course I'll get back to City Skylines when the new expansion comes out, and maybe we'll have both of those going at the same time. And at some point I might even get back into the spatials too, because I'm sure that I haven't been keeping up with them, and I apologize, but I assume that they've been continuing forward with more patches and more changes to the game. So I would like to get back to that and see what has changed since the last time I've played. Plus, I could start a new game and use some of the knowledge I had from finishing up the previous, you know, season of that, and maybe use some of that to my advantage and maybe do even better or less better. Who knows? Who knows what mindset I will be in if I get back to that point where I can start that again. So I'm finished recording the Dishonored, and I'm getting near to the end of Dex. Near to the end of Driver San Francisco. I would like to backtrack and try to get back into Chroma Squad again, and maybe I can get past that point where I was stuck. So I'm gonna at least try it anyway. And then the side quests continue forward. Also, there's a couple other games I'm missing there, like Void Expanse. I would like to get back into that again. I've been playing a bunch of Empyrean Galactic Survival. I would like to get another episode of that up soonish. It's going to take me a little bit because I think I know where I want to go with it. I've been doing a bunch off camera, and I think I know what I want to do for the next episode, but I'm not entirely sure yet. So I just want to. It's going to take me a little bit to make sure that I, in my brain, know what I want to do. Obviously, I want to take on that whole drone swarm that was over in that one area, but it does kind of scare me a little bit because it is really close to. It is dangerously close to my base, so I want to make sure I don't draw them all over to the base that I've been meticulously working on off camera. So there's that part. There's that point too. So that'll be coming out again. That'll be just whenever I can get an episode out, I'll get an episode out. I'm not going to commit any particular schedule for that, or time or slot or anything like that. It's just going to be whenever for Empyrean Galactic Survival. And that's going to be the way I do most of the sandbox games that I come across, because they do take a enormous amount of time. And, you know, as I said, I'm trying to divide my time as best as I can amongst many different things. Yeah. Oh, so I actually did talk about episode 4, Tales from Borderlands. Enjoyed that, because I had that on my list here and I never checked it off. So I assume I didn't talk about it yet. So there's that. I'll actually leave you a link to the Eurogamer article that has a review of it. That's pretty good. So you want to go take a look at that. Also this week, actually a few days ago, I think on Wednesday, YouTube Gaming has gone live just in time for PAX Prime, which I think is what they were targeting for before. So and they've been doing a lot of live streaming from the PAX floor. They've got, you know, a stage set up and all that stuff. I was watching a few things from GameSpot. GameSpot seems to be picking up a lot of the footage from that. So I was watching like a, you know, Guitar Hero thing that was going on and all that stuff. So that is now live. So that's gaming.youtube.com. The whole UI interface on there has been revamped. It's the same UI interface on the mobile device as well. There's a mobile gaming.youtube app, YouTube gaming app out there as well that I've taken a look at, and the website follows the same pattern. It does emphasize live streams over everything else, and the interesting part of that is when I went on the YouTube gaming site, I actually saw a bunch of live streams that only had about, you know, 200 or 300 people in them. Not 200. A couple that had like a couple thousand, and then there was a few that had like 100 or 200, and then all the way down to like 58. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good actually. The you know, it might be since there's a whole lot of you know, uncertainty about whether, you know, people should go and live stream from there, especially Twitch partners who are forbidden from live streaming on other services. It would be it might be a good little spot to set up shop if you're, you know, a lowly small channel like myself. So I'm trying to in addition to freeing up all this time, I'm trying to also use some of that free time to do some more streaming. I like to, you know, continue with the streaming stuff. There's not going to be any schedule for the streaming. It's just going to be, like I said, well, I mean, other than Fridays. Friday nights are always something I'm going to do, if I don't, I will specifically mention it on Twitter if I'm going to miss a Friday stream. Usually I'd miss it for like work related stuff if I spent, you know, if I'm still at work or something like that. But I'm going to try to do even more live streams than what I've been doing, and try to not committing to any schedule obviously, but trying to get even more in there as much as I can. So I've got the Borderlands I've got to play through, and I've got Evoland 2 that I'm playing through. So we've got those on the list, and then there's a few more that I'm thinking would be good for live streaming as opposed to just having an episodic series. So all those things are coming. All right, and I think I've exhausted all the things that I've been looking at from that point. The other thing is I've had a few side quest videos go up over the past 2 weeks. I just recently did, what was it, Flying Tigers, Shadows over China, which was a historical, well, based on history, based on World War II, fighter combat game, third-person fighter combat game with sort of action, all action mechanics. You know, it's not simulation or anything like that. And it was fun. It was, you know, I'd like to, it's still early access, so there's still a lot to do there yet. And I'm kind of waiting, because it's got a campaign, it's got multiplayer. I'm kind of waiting to do the campaign until they fully release, because I just want to, I think they have most, if not all, the campaign there, but they're still working on some of the planes and whatnot. And I just wanted to wait, but I will probably do a series on that once it is fully released. But I at least wanted to get the early access, my early access look at it out there. So that was kind of cool. It's a nice little game. It was a bit of a surprise. I just sort of ran into it while I was looking around for stuff. I did, you know, and I just waited for it to go on early access so I could get there and take a look at it. So that is that for that one. And then what else did I look at? I looked at Castronauts, which I think was like 3 weeks ago. I think I'm going back a little too far there. What else did I have here? I've got the most recent one was Super Dungeon Run, which is basically what the name says. It's a dungeon run. But instead of you running the dungeon as a sole character, you've got an entire group of characters that run the dungeon together, and the goal is to complete the quests, but also at the same time try to keep as well. You don't have to keep them all alive, but you got to keep at least one alive to complete the quest. So you got this whole group of minions that you send in, and they all start out as peasants, and then as they open up chests, they will unlock certain clothing, which will then make them, a warrior, or make them an archer, or a mage, a sorceress, really, and a few others. And then those become part of your group, and then as you keep them alive, they level up and get even more badass, and then your whole party will level up if you complete, as you complete dungeons. And it's a nice thing. I feel like it would be, as I mentioned in the video, I feel like it would be a better mobile game than a PC game, because it is one of those things that it's got all the makings of something that you would pick up for 20 minutes while you're sitting on the porcelain throne, and then put it away, and then come back to it, and then put it away and come back to it. It's got that kind of feel into it, so it probably would work better on that platform. But it is competent, and I enjoyed it, so that's that on there. And then what else did I look at? Oh, I looked at Hacknet, which is a hacking simulation game. Very, very similar to Uplink, which is an older game that I played many moons ago, where you are, they try to simulate you hacking computers, and they give you a story as you're hacking the computers. You can look at all the, the text files and emails that are stored on the computer, and it conveys a story there, and you got to cover your tracks and make sure you're not, found, and then you take on a bunch of missions as you do it. I actually take on a bunch of contracts, so it's a little bit different from Uplink, in that Uplink had a bunch of missions that you took on, and this one has like a bunch of contracts that you take as you go in, and those unlock more servers to use for your own nefarious purposes and all that stuff. The interface is very much built around having a command line, having a command interface. They've given much of the commands that you type in are similar to real-world commands, although not entirely. They've been simplified for the purposes of the game, which is fine. And I guess that's where it deviates the most from Uplink back in the day. Uplink was not a graphical powerhouse by any stretch of the imagination, but all your hacking was done graphically. Like, it was very visual, a very visual hacking game. This one is, even though you can do the stuff graphically, it seems to be more geared towards the, type in your command and do this, and just it's not as, whereas Uplink would have you constantly under time constraints to, go do this real fast and get this done, and then you just access this computer, and now it's doing a reverse trace on you, and you got to get done before it finds your main computer. And if they find your main computer, you have all these like self-destruct mechanisms and other things that you can do to try to stealth it from the police that are coming, and all that stuff. Whereas this one is a little bit more casual, where it's I didn't, the 40 minutes or so that I played of it, there wasn't any real sweaty palm moment. You know what I mean? It was just like, okay, this is cool. This is nice and casual. You kind of do your thing here, which is fine. And maybe later on in the game it does get a little bit more intense. But for the most part, it was competent. So there was that. That was what was that? That was Hacknet. And because I'm looking at my Steam library here to see what else I did last week. I think that covers it. I was also looking at some other games that I may do videos on at some point. One that I probably won't do a video on for a while until it gets better. It's called Darkstorm, and they had this VR missions edition that is free for everyone to download on Steam if you wish. But it's it caught my attention. It's a little indie game. It caught my attention because it was taking hints from Deus Ex and a few others, like cyberpunk things. So it was like a cross between Deus Ex and like a Metal Gear Solid type of game, because you have like third-person view and you have a first-person view, and it's a cyberpunk era type of thing, and you know, you're sneaking around, doing all that stuff. And I was going to do a video of it last week or the week before, but the VR missions are just kind of the training course, and there's not a whole lot to them. It's very, very early yet, and it crashed like several times while I was playing it. So I was gonna probably wait on that for a little bit. But you could go over, you know, just look up Darkstorm VR missions. You can go over to Steam and just follow it there, or go over to IndieDB, where I found it, and maybe follow it over there and just keep an eye on it. It might be something kind of cool, kind of nice. And I've got a couple other things I'm sort of looking at here. I would like to look again at Interstellar Space, was it? I think it was Interstellar Space. Interstellar Rift, that's what it is. I'm looking to get back into that at some point too. They've been making some changes. They've got shields and stuff now, which is kind of cool. But again, I gotta wait for a little bit on that. Plus, having 2 sandbox games at a time is going to be a bit much for me. But as long as I keep it to I'll do this whenever I feel like it thing, I'm probably be okay with that. And then Satellite Rain, which I did a side quest video on a couple weeks ago, that just came out on Steam. It's fully released now. I will probably get back into that in a live stream, and I will probably start over from the beginning again, just so I make sure I have everything. You know, maybe they fixed or changed something from the beginning, and you know, I just want to make sure I get the full experience from that. But that's going to be a while off, because again, another long form RPG. Plus, I got a ton of like these long form RPGs. I still haven't done Shadowrun yet. Shadowrun Returns, I mean. So yeah, there's a lot. I'm going to be doing lots of long form RPGs on live streams. Basically, is what I'm putting out there right now. And then I'm looking at something called Blue Libra, which I played a little bit off camera of, and I think I get the idea of it. So I might do a video of that too coming up. It's what's the best way I can describe it? It's a tactical spaced game, but it's real time tactical, and you basically drag and drop. Well, not drag and drop, but you drag out a path for your ships to follow, and then you can take over. I think you can take over planets, and then that gives you more resources or more ships to fight with, and then you have those groups come out and fight other things. It's a weird sort of hybrid thing. It's like a tactical top-down space combat game with a little bit of like real-time strategy stuff mixed in too. So I kind of want to take another look at it, and maybe we'll do a video of it, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about there. And then I've got, so there's 2 more games I'm kind of looking at. One is called Starbox RPG Adventures in Space. I'm not going to talk too much about that because I don't have any links for you for that, unfortunately. But that is it is what it says, an RPG adventure in space. I'm kind of curious as to what that entails, so I might do a like an extended side quest video on that. We'll see, because it's an RPG game, so we'll see what comes of that. And then there's another one that I do want to talk about. It's called It's called Duskers, and I have a link to Rock Paper Shotgun, which does a really good sort of preview of Duskers. But it's another obviously another sci-fi game. It's a roguelike but you have to manage your resources like you do, like say in FTL and whatnot. But you also have to, but you only control, you're sort of an AI, I think, and you're controlling rovers. So you're not like a physical person doing stuff. You actually can only control rovers. And as you go onto these, you stop off at some derelict ships. You make choices along the way. You say, oh, I want to stop off at this ship here, or I want to stop off at that ship there. And as you do that, you send your drones out, and you can get more parts and more resources for your ship. You can find drones along the way and add them to your team, and so on and so forth. It sounds like a really interesting concept, and I'd like to dig into that at some point and see what is going on there, and what's the major thing happening with that. And because it sounds like it's right up my alley in particular, since I like the sci-fi stuff so much. So I want to take a look at that too. And again, I'll leave you a link to Rock Paper Shotgun, which gives a much better overview than what I'm giving for, because I haven't played the game yet. So I've got it. It's early access. I purchased it. I just have to sit down and actually play it. Speaking of early things and PAX Prime, there are 2 games that I've seen. I have videos here from GameSpot. These are early videos of things that are being shown off at PAX Prime, and these are things you probably want to, if you're into the genre, keep on your radar and follow up on when all the articles about things that were announced at PAX Prime start to come out, and just take a look at them. The first one is Hard West, and it is, think Banner Saga / XCOM in a Western setting, basically. So it's a isometric tactical game where you have to take cover. It's got very much the Banner Saga theme, sort of, where it's got the not the art style or anything like that. The art style is completely different from anything I've seen. So it's not, I can't point to something and go, this looks like this other game. It's not. It doesn't. It looks gritty and old westy is the best way I can describe it. It's not cartoony in any way that I could see, at least from the footage that I saw from GameSpot there. But all your characters, as you maneuver your characters around, they've got the banner that pops up above their heads, and it's that split banner in the middle, much like you see in Banner Saga and also in Tahira Echoes of a Astral Empire, which is another game that I played as a side quest video. That's still early, and they sort of split up in half, and you've got like stars on the one side, like yellow stars, which I guess are your special moves, and then on the right is your like health bar. And a couple of the enemies didn't have any like special moves; they just had like the health bar there. It took up the whole banner and stuff. And then it's all what you would expect from a tactical cover shooter, right? Or tactical cover turn-based combat game, right? Where you move your people into position, you get some percentage hit chance, you let them fire off their weapons, and then eventually you kill all the enemies. But it sounds like, I don't know what the story is going to be like on it. They don't give any story spoilers away as far as I can tell from the video that's out there. But I'd imagine a game like that's going to have a pretty decent story, and I'm intrigued that it's set in like the Old West. So I have that on my radar, and I'm waiting to see some more information on that to see what that looks like. But obviously, I'll leave you a link to GameSpot that has a video that shows you some of the gameplay, some of the early gameplay. And then another one that's another GameSpot video out there. It's a very short one, about 3 minutes long or so. It's people playing Dreadnought, which is a multiplayer space capital ship combat game. So whereas normally you would be in these little small agile fighter ships going off against other players, in this one you're in these like slow lumbering capital ships, and you're going mano a mano, toe on toe with other players. And it's got all kinds of special maneuvers that you can do. There's like this I forget what they call it, like a plasma blade or something like that you can turn on and ram ships with it. And you have shields, but you have to turn the shields on and on for a temporary amount of time. You can't keep them up all the time. And various other things. There was a lot. The thing that struck me about it, you're behind your ship. It's like a third-person view. You're behind the ship. You maneuver around and all that stuff. You take control of the turrets, and wherever you're aiming is wherever you're pointing the mouse is where they're going to fire and all that stuff. But from that perspective, it's got more of a Starpoint Gemini 2 feel to it. But it's multiplayer, and it's the thing that I noticed the most about it is it gives you a lot of feedback. Like as the person was playing it, they're getting a lot of feedback from their crew. Like, hey, we're being targeted here, or this is damaged, or that's going on. There was a lot of good feedback that was coming back, and it seemed like a really nice, cool thing. And I've had Dreadnought on my radar for a while now, and this is the first good footage I've seen of it that wasn't like a trailer. So it's got me even more excited now, even though I'm not that big on the multiplayer games. Something like this I can see dropping in and out from time to time and playing it. So that would be really cool. So again, another thing, if you're into the genre, something you might want to keep on your radar if and just keep a lookout for more coverage. I'm sure more coverage will be coming after PAX completes for some of those things. Another thing that was announced at PAX Prime called, it was by Cliffy B's company. What is it? Something games, or badass games, or I don't know, some name like that. They have announced yet another what is it? Online multiplayer arena shooter. Those are the words I was looking for. Yet another one out there. We've got one coming down from Blizzard, which I'm looking at, Overwatch. I really want to play that. Obviously, you've got the granddaddy of them all, Team Fortress 2. And then this one is called Lawbreakers. And it's pretty much what you would expect. I mean, if you look at a trailer for Overwatch, you've pretty much seen Lawbreakers at that point. They're fairly similar in many ways, except that it does have a set number of characters, and they all have their own classes that they inhabit, which I guess is much like Overwatch too, I guess. So same kind of deal there. They've got the sort of sci-fi feel to them, and it actually looks pretty good. I'll link you to Rock Paper Shotgun, which talks. I'll link you to Polygon, which has probably the best write-up of it of any of the major news organizations, major news sites, I should say, out there. And you can take a look for yourself. They have some videos embedded on there. There was a Twitch live stream that was done. I think they have that embedded on there as well. So you can go look at the VOD for that. But it looks interesting. Again, not hugely into the multiplayer stuff, but there are things that I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for Overwatch because I'd like to see what that's like. I've never actually gotten into Team Fortress 2. It's a weird thing. Like I know it's free and I could just go pick it up, but I feel like since I've never played it, I'm so out of practice at this point that it wouldn't, or so out on left field that it wouldn't really be any fun for me to play. And that it is kind of, I guess it is kind of showing its age a little bit in some cases, but the visuals aren't usually the thing that I actually care about, but it's just that cartoony style and stuff. I don't know. I don't know if I'd really like Team Fortress 2, honestly. But some of these other things, I mean, I know Overwatch has a cartoony style too. I'm kind of throwing a lot of excuses out there that don't make a whole lot of sense, but I just have that feeling in my gut that I'm like, yeah, probably not going to enjoy TF2 for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. I don't know why I just feel that way, but I do. But then I look at Overwatch, I look at this Lawbreakers thing, and I'm like, yeah, I could see myself playing those. So why those and not TF2? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I can't explain it to myself. I can't explain it to you. Like I said, Polygon's got the good scoop on that. You can see more information about Lawbreakers and what they are working on, what they're doing. And it's another thing you'll probably want to wait until the end of PAX to see all the articles that come out on those things and judge for yourself, as the case may be. Also, I just purchased Lara Croft Go, which is a Android, iOS mobile game thing. I'll leave a link to Your Gamer, which talks about it. The link I'm giving you is to it prior to launch, I think. So you may want to go search around for one that's a little bit more up to date, although it's not that far out, honestly. I did it from August 8th, so it's not that, couldn't be that out of date. But Lara Croft Go is in a similar vein to Hitman Go, which is, and I actually have Hitman Go. It's kind of fun, honestly. I got to a point very early on when the puzzles are too hard for me, but it's what's the best way I can describe it? Obviously it's a puzzle game, but it's like a sliding puzzle game, kind of, where you've got your main protagonist on sort of like a railroad track almost, and you can move around one step at a time on that track. And every time you do, then your turn is up and the enemies get a move and they get to do whatever they want. And in the Hitman Go one, it was, well, don't get seen or else they'll come after you. And then you had several like different things you could do along the way. Like you could walk over near a rock and your guy would pick it up and then you could throw that and that would distract the guys to move another direction. You sort of had to plan out how you were doing your moves because every time you move, they move. So if it's a patrolling guard, they're on some sort of patrol, you need to time it so that you don't, as you're moving, their patrol doesn't turn around and come back and see you and all that stuff. It was a very interesting concept, and I assume that Tomb Raider Go will be much the same. So I just picked that up literally a few minutes ago, so I haven't looked at it yet, but I have looked at Hitman Go. I like what I could play of that, and I suspect I'm going to like what I can play of Lara Croft Go too, unless they completely balls it up, which I doubt. It's kind of a hard one to balls up, I would think. But yeah, that's out on your mobile devices now. If you're if you're looking for something else to play on your mobiles, so there you go. Something that's a little bit casual but still has a bit of a challenge to it. And then let's see, we're getting close to the end, but we still have some time. I want to make sure that I cover the Humble Bundle end of summer sale that is going on right now. It is, let's see if I can pull this up here. Also, before we do the Humble Bundle store majigger, I mentioned Borderlands a little bit earlier, a couple of times. There's also a Borderlands movie that's in the works, and there's not a whole lot of information about it, but what we've got so far is that Lionsgate, the company behind the Hunger Games movies, is developing the movie based on Gearbox's IP. And it's going to be produced by Avi and Ari Arad, which should be familiar to anyone who loves comic book movies, because they have worked on Iron Man, Spider-Man, X-Men, Ghost Rider, and the Blade movies, which has me very excited because I liked most of their movies that they've done, except maybe Ghost Rider, which I think I'm not in the minority of either. So they're going to be producing that. That sounds awesome. Obviously, you want it done right because it's a Borderlands game, which means it's going to be somewhat hyper-violent, right? Because that's kind of how Borderlands is. It's comically violent. And I've already seen reports that it's going to be rated R. They're pretty much guaranteeing it right now. They haven't shot a damn thing yet, but they're pretty much guaranteeing it's going to be rated R, which is good because, Borderlands did not pull too many punches either. That is a thing. Some speculation. We don't know any actors who are going to play yet, or whether or not we're going to see like well-known characters, like say Handsome Jack, and if so, who would play that, and so on and so forth. So, just that's all the information we have there on that, is that there is a Borderlands movie in the works. Now, back to the Humble Store end of summer sale that is going on. There's been a recent change to the Humble Store where you can now select what charity gets the 10% of your purchase. And they have a bunch of charities that they suggest. I think it defaulted mine to Child's Play charity. I've actually changed it to the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, because that's more my speed, I'd say. But there's a bunch of other ones. There's like 3,500 different charities, I think, that you can select from, both international and, domestic. I think the ones at the top of the list that they had Child's Play Charity, they had Charity Water there, which is also another good charity. I had to dig down a little bit, but I eventually found Electronic Frontier Foundation. That's the one I'm doing. But yeah, whatever charity you pick gets 10% of all the purchases that you make in the Humble Store. But along those same lines, with the summer sale going on, there's a whole lot here that you might want to pick up. First of all, you've got another, according to the page right now, 13 hours. So by the time you watch this, you might be right at the edge. Well, actually, no, it goes until the 31st. So, all right, you might have some time, hopefully, to pick up Stealth Inc. 2, a game of clones, the Humble Deluxe Edition. That is actually free. That is free until August 31st. Completely free. You can get either the DRM free version of it that you can download, or you can get the Steam key. I actually redeemed it on Steam for it. So you can get that completely free. So it was a game that I wasn't going to buy because it's not really my type of game, but I was like, you know what? If you're going to give it to me for free, I might as well. Along the same lines, they've got a couple deals going on. They've got the Build Your Own Telltale Games bundle, which is rather interesting. They've got Steam keys for Tales of Borderlands and Game of Thrones are back in stock. Oh, that's good. That's good to know. So they've got, what do they got? Game of Thrones here, which is 50% off at $14.99 US. We got Tales from the Borderlands, which is 50% off at $12.49. The Wolf Among Us, which is 75% off at $6.24. The Walking Dead Season 2, which is 75% off at $6.24. And The Walking Dead Season 1, which is 75% off at $6.24. The Walking Dead 400 Days. I have no idea what that is. That is 75% off at $1.24. That's another Telltale game. And then a couple of the other Telltale games they have on this bundle that you can bundle together. They've got Back to the Future, the game, which is 80% off. Jurassic Park, the game, 75% off. Poker Night at the Inventory. I have never heard of that before, but that's like 80% off. It's literally 99 cents. So I have no idea what that is. And they've actually got Poker Night 2, which is also 99 cents at 80% off. It was so good they made 2 of them, and I have no idea what they are. And then Puzzle Agent and Puzzle Agent 2. And these must be the really, really old games that Telltale did, like their first games or something, because you don't really hear about them. But the way that these bundles work is you can get 80% off 3 of the games, 83% off 4 games, or 85% off all 5 games, and then various other things along the way. So you can go through and just select a few, select one, select more than one, whatever, and then if you get up to at least 3, they will apply 80% off discount to all of those together. So if you pick up like Game of Thrones and Tales from the Borderlands, those are both 50% off. And then if you pick up, say, The Wolf Among Us, which is 75% off, pick up all 3 of those, you'll get 80% off all 3 of those games instead of the 50, 50, and 75. So that is rather nice, I would say. Build your own bundle. I've never heard of that before, but that is a thing, apparently. They also have a build your own Codemasters bundle. And what Codemasters games do they have there? They've got Dirt Showdown, Dirt 3 Complete Edition, Grid 2 Reloaded Edition, Grid 2, Grid Autosport, and regular Grid. Grid. They've got Overlord 2 and Overlord, which I have heard are really good games, but I've never actually played them. They're old games too, but I've never actually played them. I have no idea how good they are or not. They're apparently like action RPG games where you are the bad guy and you're trying to kill heroes, which sounds fantastic. I've never actually played them. So I might pick these up at some point. The Overlord 2 is 60% off right now at $3.99, and Overlord is 60% off at $1.99. So it's pretty darn cheap if you wanted to pick those up. Also, if you pick them up as part of the bundle, you get, like, if you pick up 3 games, you'll get 66% off all 3 of the games. 4 games will give you 72% off, and 5 games will give you 75% off. So they also have the F1 Race Stars, which I've never heard of before, and then F1 2014, F1 2013 Classic Edition, and F1 2013. I don't know what the difference between a Classic Edition and the 2013 are, but there you go. So those are the things available for the Humble Codemasters Build Your Own Codemasters bundle thing. I'll pick off a few of the games that are on the front page here that are on discount right now that are probably pretty good. Well, Infinifactory Production Zone 1 is 50% off right now at $12.49, but there's only about an hour and 13 minutes left on that, so by the time you hear this, it's already done. Same goes for Crypto the Necro Dancer Soundtrack Edition. That is also 50% off at $12.49, but you're not going to see that if you go to the page now, because that's only got 5 hours and 13 minutes left on it. Those are flash deals, and I don't know what the other flash deals will be after that. What else here? So we got Besiege, which is a game I have not picked up. It's still in early access. I don't know that I will pick it up, but I've seen some videos of it. It's basically create your own siege weapons and wreak havoc on all the things, on all the medieval towns that you can. That is 25% off for the early access for that at $5.24. So if you want to get into early access for that game and shape its future. The early access for Space Engineers is on here too at 50% off at $12.49. Hacknet, the game that I just did on a side quest earlier, is 20% off at $7.99. That is the full game. And let's see, what else do we have on here that looks pretty good? Sniper Elite V2 is 75% off at $7.49. Shadowgate, a game that I played briefly on the Nintendo, on the NES, but never really got into it. It was a little bit too... I was young, and it was a little bit too scary for me playing that game. I didn't really like it so much. The music was also kind of like also creeped me out a lot. But I've as I've gotten older, I've watched videos of it, and it's a competent point and click game. It's a lot of fun. It looks like a lot of fun to play through. It's brutally hard, where it will kill you at every chance that it can. And this version of Shadowgate here is the remade version, so it's got all the HD graphics, but it's got the same storyline and all that stuff, and all the niceties that come with it. That is 80% off at $2.99 if you're into that kind of thing. I've never really been a fan of Shadowgate, so it's not something for me particularly, but that's just me. Now, I did just pick up Kentucky Route Zero in this sale. It's 50% off at $12.49. I've heard that this is a fairly good episodic game. There's only 3 episodes though that are done yet. It's 3 out of 5 episodes. But I have not seen anybody actually play the game. I've heard that it's a good game, but I haven't seen anybody play it. So I figured since it's on sale, it's 50% off. Why not? Let me try it. So I have picked that up. We'll see if I do a live stream or some other form of video on that. We'll see. LA Cops I would avoid. It's on here. It's 60% off at $5.99. You don't want to play it. It's just, I would avoid that. I played it. It's meh at best. What is this? Dive Kick edition. Edition. I don't know anything about that. That's 75% off at $2.49. What else on here do I know about? Oh, I picked up Kinetic Void because it's a sci-fi game, and I don't know. I think it's still early access, even though it doesn't say early access on here. I think it's early access. It's $4.99. It's a sci-fi game, and it's a sandbox sci-fi game, and that's all I know about it. So I'm picking up. I might do a side quest video on that at some point. That be a little bit more revealing than what I know of it right now. I literally just picked it up a few hours, like 25 minutes ago or whatever. So how long have I been talking for? I'm talking longer than that, I think. But yeah, I literally just picked it up, very short time ago. So I haven't played any of it. I don't know anything beyond what I saw in the video. Gratuitous Space Battles 2 is 66% off at $5.09. You might want to take a look at that. I played Gratuitous Space Battles 1, a little bit of it, and it was okay, but it wasn't enough for me to play more than like 5-10 minutes of it. And then anything else on here that stands out at me that looks like something good? Not really. Guilty Gear. I heard the Guilty Gear series is kind of cool, but it's like Japanese anime BS that I never really got into. But it's there. It's Guilty Gear Azuka is 80% off at $1.99 as part of today's deals. This again is just for Saturday's deals. When you look at it, it might be Sunday's deals. It might be completely different. I don't know. They're doing different deals every day, or you might still be able to get these deals. I'm not sure. But that is the humble end of summer sale that is going on. You might want to take a look at that, and maybe if you're one of those patient gamers that's waiting for sales, now's your time. But that will do it for this episode of whatever. That will do it for this episode of Cube Ramblings. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you next Sunday.